Man, we've seen that game 100 times, and we never win it, do we? It never goes that way, but it did yesterday. What's going on, Jets fans? I really appreciate you stopping in, and I got a ton on my mind after I've had a chance to sleep on this victory. Too much to cram into one of my 5-minute videos, so I'm going to do a little pilot of the Buffalo Jet fan podcast. Not going to be the norm. I'm still going to come with the quick hitters, but every once in a while, I'll roll out one of these, green bean style, right? Why not? Now, what did we all expect? Did you feel it? I know you remained optimistic, hopefully like me. I didn't have a meltdown on Twitter. I hung in there. But you felt like, man, Kenny Pickett's going to come out here and he's going to have his coming out party into the NFL at the Jets' expense, right? I had vibes of Baker Mayfield replacing Tyrod Taylor when we lost to Cleveland. That's exactly how it felt. And Steelers fans would be elated, feeling like they have their quarterback of the future. And Jets fans would be crushed. And we'd spend the next 72 hours bickering with each other on the internet of who to blame and if it's the end of the world or not. But the biggest difference, really two, between that loss to Baker Mayfield and this win against Kenny Pickett is that Robert Salah was our head coach and that Zach Wilson was our quarterback. Look, was it ugly? Hell yeah. Do we have a million things that we got to fix? We do. But I don't care because when you win games, it buys you time to fix those things. And when you win games, it lends credibility to your players and your coaching staff that they can fix those things and that they will get it right. You know, if we're 0-4, I don't want to hear, if we could have done this and we could have done that. We're 2-2 against the AFC North. 2-2 against the AFC North. And the Brady Quinns and the Stephen A. Smiths of the world are coping as best they can. We all would have signed up for that. And in his first game back, Zach Wilson leaves healthy, and he leaves our team on a near-perfect game-winning drive. If I would have told you that a month ago, you would have been elated. Elated. And that's how Jets fans should feel today. Now, I'm going to start with Coach Salah because I've been critical. I got some receipts out there, and does this game mean everything? No, but it tells me a lot, man. It really does. This win, to me, it builds character, it builds resiliency. It's important to learn how to win and learn how not to lose. These players and this coaching staff, they need to know next time they're up against it, whatever the adversity is, injury, refs not giving you the calls, on the road against a good team, ball not bouncing your way, you're down 2 scores in the second half. You need to know and play like you've been there before because you have been. There's no substitute for that. None. And that was a brick in the wall there in building a legitimate franchise. It was. Absolutely was. And on Coach Salah, he was the better coach yesterday. Yes, he was. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything else. Robert Salah was better than Mike Tomlin yesterday. Why? Because his team came out strong. They started better and they finished strong. We were the more physical team. We were the more resilient and prepared team. We went on the road. We won the yardage battle, the turnover battle, and the final scoreboard as road underdogs. You don't do that if you didn't have the better man rocking the headset on that day, and we did. In Robert Salah. And before the game even started, man, what a bold move to put AVT at left tackle, because one of my criticisms of this coaching staff has been kind of stubbornness, rigidity, not willing to think outside the box, but that was beautiful and brilliant. Okay, because if it doesn't work, you're getting burned. How could you move a Pro Bowl caliber right guard? You switch him out of positions. Bold move. And it paid off for him. AVT, 65 plus snaps at left tackle, didn't give up a single sack or quarterback hit. Damn, what a draft pick that kid is, man. He could probably play every position on the offensive line. And at the end of the game, that clock management down the stretch, I will never get over how perfect it was. It was perfect. And that has been something that's so lacking with Jets teams recently. And it's, again, another question mark ahead of Robert Salah. I never questioned Robert Salah's motivational attributes. The guys that are ready to run through a brick wall for him. I know that. I know the players love Coach. I know they'll play hard for him. I know that he's an intense guy. But the attention to detail and the X's and O's, and can you outwit another coach in a chess match? And in those final 2 minutes, he did. Absolutely. Bleeding the clock down. Like when everyone's freaking out. Oh, what are we doing? Are they playing for the ties? No. Got all the time in the world. All the time in the world. You had 3 timeouts. Had time for another play and a timeout even after the Breece Hall touchdown if we needed it. Because how many times have we seen a team go ahead and punch that touchdown in with 48 seconds left and then other team is down the other way? Could not have handled it better. Robert Salah, I'll eat my receipts for now. It doesn't mean everything, but you proved a lot to me, Coach Salah, yesterday in that win. You absolutely did. How about Jeff Wilbur, too? Because his defense played incredible. 4 takeaways in the backfield a bunch. Love to see it from the coaching staff. Clock management, man. I'm never getting over it. Been a minute since we had that. Been a minute since we had a franchise quarterback, too. Now on to Zach Wilson. Now, if we're going to just look at the box score, 50% completion percentage, ew. But guys, the completion percentage was so low. Yeah, there was some rust. There was about 5 just bad balls, right? Just can't throw them footballs. But a lot of those incompletions were because Zach Wilson was moving like Russell Wilson in his prime. Zach Wilson's mobility and escapability turned would-be sacks into throwaways. It's not an exaggeration. Joe Flacco might have been sacked 10 times yesterday. But Zach Wilson is Houdini in the pocket. And in the fourth quarter on that game-winning drive, literally perfect. No incompletions, right down the field. He was quick, decisive, accurate, and confident. And this is what I want to see from Zach Wilson. I think why Zach Wilson was at his best. I mean, number one, I was like shaking just watching the game. I was like sipping my water, trembling. And this kid going out there on the road, first game back, raucous crowd, shaky O-line. The guts on this kid, man. And the thing was, when Zach Wilson stops thinking and starts balling, he plays better. I think with Zach Wilson a lot, you see a lot of hesitation, right? And then a rollout and a throwaway because Zach, one thing with young quarterbacks that you often see is kind of recklessness with the football. You have to teach them the value of a possession in the NFL. Zach is kind of the opposite. Like Zach's interceptions last year, like 2/3 of his interceptions came in 2 games. And then he had a stretch towards the end of the season where he didn't throw any picks. And when he gets hit, he doesn't fumble. The ball security from Zach is excellent. Whereas if you look at somebody like Trevor Lawrence, who's got like more than double the total interceptions and fumbles than Zach. But Trevor has better overall passing volume, I think because Trevor takes more chances. So if you're a Jags fan and a Jets fan, you probably want both guys to kind of meet in the middle and you get the best of both. Because when Zach wasn't thinking and he takes a 3-step drop and he fires it over the middle with a clean pocket, it is a thing of absolute beauty. There has been magic in this kid's arm. That's never been a question. It is special. He was firing darts to Corey Davis, Tyler Conklin, Garrett Wilson in the fourth quarter. That's what I want to see from Zach. Trust that arm. Put it in those tight windows because he had no choice. 4th down, right? 3rd and goal. You got to fire it. He had no choice. That's the mentality I want to see him play with. And if he ends up throwing a couple more picks along the way this year, because he tried to fire it into a tight window and now he's learning what it means to be open in the NFL, that's fine. That's fine, Zach. Just let it rip. Trust your arm. It's a great one. It absolutely is. Now, besides Zach Wilson, some game balls we have to give out. I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to try to stick to 2 on offense and 2 on defense, obviously besides our quarterback. Number 1, we have to give it to AVT. What a draft pick. What a draft pick. He could probably play, if you wanted to develop him at any position on the offensive line within a couple of years, he could probably play at a Pro Bowl position at any one of them. He's that gifted. And what a team player. And you never hear him say a word. I don't even know what AVT's voice sounds like. He just balls. We'll talk a little bit later what the plan should be on offensive line moving forward, but the versatility and the durability is huge from AVT. I don't know where this franchise would be without this kid. He is a franchise cornerstone. He might be the second most important player on this team behind Zach Wilson. Number 2, Corey Davis. Maligned by Jets fans a lot. But look, Corey had some drop issues as a Jet. So we know who you could be. We know who you were at Tennessee. But there's a little bit of what have you done for us, right? That's real. And what have you done for us lately is be the best wide receiver we had on the field yesterday. And there was a couple of those balls, had to go up and get them. Tough catches over the middle. Extended hands. Big time catches from Corey Davis. And before that, he was laying the wood as a blocker. You know, there's something to be said for that. A wide receiver on his second contract who could never play another down in his life, and he'd have generational wealth. His great grandkids wouldn't have to work, right? Making $14 million a year. I'm here to be wide receiver 1, right? He could be a diva. Many before him and after him will be, but to be willing to go out there as a blocker and trade paint with linebackers as your $14 million a year wide receiver, and then go ahead a quarter later and be instrumental in the game-winning touchdown drive. Huge. Corey Davis is good. And those trade rumors can be squashed right now, at least for the season. Moving over to the defensive side of the football, Quinnen Williams is about to get the bag. Spoiler alert, he is playing at an all-pro level. He is still playing as well as any defensive interior player not named Aaron Donald in this league, on pace for about 12 sacks. And the eye test, he's getting double teamed still, and he's eating. Like, we all said, oh, well, when Quinnen gets help and he's not getting double teamed. Look, the opposing offenses are looking and they're saying, Carl Lawson, JFM, Jermaine Johnson, Bryce Up. It is not even close. According to our opponents, who it is most important to put 2 hats on, and it's Quinnen Williams every time. He's still getting double teamed on a regular basis, and he's going out there and he's dominating. I think Aaron Donald has changed the perception of what it means to dominate on the defensive interior. What he's on pace to do, 12 sacks and close to 30 quarterback hits, bunch of tackles for loss, dominant against the run. That is dominating on the defensive interior. 20 sack seasons from defensive tackles. That's just kind of a Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt thing. Quinnen Williams has been dominant. Final game ball, an apology note, notarized and signed by yours truly, the Buffalo Jet fan, LaMarcus Joyner. Have a day. Never saw it coming. Wanted him benched a long time ago. Another area where Robert Saleh was right, sticking with a veteran. And we're saying, oh, he's just stubborn. He's playing favorites. Well, I mean, for now, I'm going to give Saleh the benefit of the doubt and assume that he saw something from LaMarcus Joyner in practice that we hadn't seen in games, and he knew it was a matter of time before it showed up on Sunday, and it did. 2 interceptions, and weren't just fluke interceptions. He had a nice pass breakup on the first possession where they tried to take that deep shot. I think 4 total pass breakups on the day. He made a couple plays actually in the backfield against the run, like when the Steelers fumbled that ball, he was right there to make the tackle. Best game in his first 4 as a Jet by far. I mean, when's the last time a Jets safety, probably since Jamal Adams, had a stat line that looked that impressive? His safety mate, Jordan Whitehead, who struggled in coverage, also had a very nice game as well. And hey, how about this guy? Here's somebody we need to play more. Here's where I was right, because I've been wrong a lot, and Coach Salah has been right on this Victory Monday. But me, myself, and probably you, Jets fans in general, have been screaming to free Bryce Huff. He's had a couple of did not dress coach's decision, and he didn't play a lot. He played 9 snaps, but my goodness, this dude brings the funk off the edge. He just has a get off that is different than any other Jets edge. Now, does he have the strength or the length to ever be a full-time starter? Maybe not, but I think we got to keep bumping these numbers up. 9 snaps, 3 pressures and 9 snaps, a 33% pressure rate. Obviously, that's not sustainable, but if you look at in his games, and it's a limited sample size with the Jets, because he got injured, but from last year up until this game he just played, by the numbers, he has been as efficient as any Jets pass rusher. In between him and Jacob Martin, it hasn't been close. So to me right now, I like that Jacob Martin's on this team. I'm not trying to trade him or cut him or anything. We paid him a decent amount of money. He's a good football player, but I'm giving all those reps to Bryce Huff right now. I am. 9 snaps. I'd like to see him get 25 snaps next week. And then the second he stops abusing offensive tackles, then we can dial it back. I want to see more of Bryce Huff. Now, the plan at offensive line. Well, Max Mitchell, we're not going to have him for a while. Likely headed to IR. According to Salah, it's likely not season ending, but I'd be surprised if we see Max back before the bye week. So for now, what do we do? Well, Max Mitchell is out. Dwayne Brown is in, maybe. Dwayne Brown is eligible to return off the 4-week IR against Miami. So they're going to work him out this week, and we should know probably by midweek if he's going to be able to go. And if he is able to go, here's what I would do. I would plug in Dwayne Brown at left tackle. Boom, done. Lakin, we're not moving. He's at left guard. Connor McGovern stays at center. And then I would keep Nate Herbig at right guard and put AVT in at right tackle. Ideally, we want to get AVT back to his natural position of right guard as soon as possible. And this kid, this would be his fourth. He would have played every position on the offensive line besides center if he does this. But I think it's the right move. And this is just as much about Nate Herbig as it is about the tackles. Connor McDermott, he played as well spelling Max at right tackle as I've ever seen Connor McDermott play. Credit to him. But I still think Nate Herbig is a starting quality guard in this league. And getting Dwayne Brown at left tackle, if you put Herbig at right guard, kick AVT out to right tackle, I think that still gets us the 5 most talented offensive linemen by far, by a wide margin on this team out in front of Zach Wilson. I like Herbig at guard and AVT at tackle a little better personally than AVT at guard and like a Mike Remmers or McDermott or the guy we got from the Houston Texans practice squad at tackle. Personally, that's how I would do it. But if they roll with AVT at right guard and they stick Remmers out there, I can live with that too. We signed the guy for a reason, right? Now, looking ahead, how does this change the perception or expectation for the season? For me, it doesn't, because I had us at 8 and 9 wins. I had us as a roughly 500 ball club. We're playing 500 football. Keep doing it. I think we also have to acknowledge, as excited as we are about the 2-2 start, that playing the way we've played and some of the mistakes we've made and some of the lulls of just playing 2 quarters consecutively of bad football at times during games is not sustainable. So we've bought ourselves some time with some really clutch fourth quarters, and now we got to go ahead and clean that up. Especially the mental errors from the veterans, we got to fix that. That's the biggest thing in my opinion. Like the drops and the penalties, we got to clean that stuff up. And we bought ourselves time. We've treaded water. 2-2. The first quarter of the season is over. Let's clean it up and let's keep riding ahead. Now, looking at the schedule, we have 5 games before the bye. We got Miami. We got road games in Green Bay and Denver. And then we have the Pats and Buffalo. And look, for me, I know after a win, we want to do the thing where we look ahead and say, we can be this, we can win 3 out of this, we can run the table here. Look at this team, they're not playing that well. Oh, this team they can be had. That's a winnable game. And for me, I can't go there quite yet. We got Miami coming up next. And as Coach Salah just said today, if we want to change the perception, we got to start competing within the division. And that starts at home against the Miami team with their backup quarterback. Do they have more proven veteran talent than we do? Yeah. That's why they're road favorites by a field goal. I'm not saying it's a must-win game, but it is a game where we must come out and look prepared and look physical. And we must play fundamentally sound, mental, mistake-free, relatively football for 4 quarters. And if we lose because they have a guy named Tyreek Hill and we don't, then so be it. But that's what we got to do. And then beyond that, look, I'm really just focused on the Jets right now. I think the schedule is kind of overrated because what I've seen from this Jets team is that our floor for how bad we can play, like if we play our worst game, we can lose to anybody. But our ceiling, if we get that fourth quarter Zach Wilson, and some of these defensive guys playing up to their talent level, this defensive line gets unleashed. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall doing what they do. Tyler Conklin, stop shopping the ball. We can go toe-to-toe with anybody. We can, especially at home. Especially at home. So I'm not fretting about, oh, this team, that team, how many games can we win? Look, we got 5 games before the bye. Win at least 2 of them. You're 4-5. Okay? And then finish strong. You win 3 of them? Excellent. But win at least 2. Whichever 2 you want. And one of them's got to be one of those division games. And that's the way I see it. And I appreciate you for taking the time to talk some New York Jets football with me. If this video brought any value to you, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. If you made it to the end, you're probably already a subscriber. So thank you, and we'll talk ball soon.